Governments might make gold ownership illegal. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I thought I'd go through this article from the Financial Review that is doing the rounds at the moment, with regards to governments potentially making it illegal to own gold. Perhaps so we can't hedge against the runaway inflation from their insane money printing. You know, we can't get away from that tax, that hidden tax, the inflation, because we pay for it all, one way or another. Now, Executive Order 6102, and I'm reading it down here. In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt, the President of the United States, forbid the hoarding of gold coins, gold bullion, and gold certificates within the continental United States. Now, I thought money was technically gold certificates back then. So, it's happened before. There's historical precedent where governments have restricted gold, where other states have confiscated gold. So, you know, it could still happen. Don't kid yourself. Do you think that will stop people from hoarding or from putting some wealth into gold to kind of hedge against what's happening? Do you think it will drive more people to cryptocurrencies? Or can they do the same thing? They're making it illegal to transact any cryptocurrency. The problem with cryptos, except for a few, is they'll be able to track it. No problem at all. Just have a look at what recently happened, where people can see how a crypto transaction from a 2009 Bitcoin wallet just moved. Hasn't been touched. The wallet's laid dormant since 2009, and it's just been moved. So it's making the rounds. It's making the rounds. And once they identify that with a person, government can control that too. So let's have a look through this article, everyone. So the governments may make private gold ownership illegal. That really is just another infringement on our rights. Just another infringement on our rights, isn't it? How many people do you think would just say, yeah, that's good. Everyone has to pay their fair share of inflation. Can you see that happening in Australia? I can see it happening in Australia. I can bloody well see it happening. All the bloody people, who love to put their authoritarian boot on your neck and get away your freedom for the greater good are lining up. So, Crispin Odey, one of Europe's highest profile hedge fund managers, said that governments may ban private gold ownership if they lose control of inflation in the wake of the pandemic crisis. And here's the thing. Fundamentally, even this statement is showing us that the government is not our friend. I had a viewer reach out to me yesterday suggesting that the government may save us all from this impending economic collapse and the issues that we're having here, frankly, the recession to a depression that Australia is probably entering. It doesn't really work that way. The government doesn't save us from these disasters. The government is the cause of these disasters. It's their intervention into the market. We've never really had a free market in anyone's living memory. Be a nice experiment to try, wouldn't it? Be nice. We'll see where the world pivots after this. It is no surprise that people are buying gold. But the authorities may attempt at some point to demonetize gold, making it illegal to own as a private individual, Mr. Odey wrote in a letter to investors seen by Bloomberg. They will only do this if they feel the need to create a stable unit of account for world trade. Mr. Odey, a long-standing critic of central bank policies who is known for his apocalyptic predictions, increased the gold position of his flagship Odey Europe Fund during the course of April. Holdings of June gold futures represented 39.9% of the fund's net asset value at the end of the month, up from 15.9% at the end of March. A stake in Barrick Gold, the world's number 2 gold miner, was his largest single long equity holding, or equity position. So this is interesting, guys. I know a lot of you are, gold and silver stackers. Some of you are in the crypto. Some of you are actually investing in the markets. One strategy I've seen someone mention in the comments is that they all go through one of the leading ETFs and just buy their own shares in those in gold funds. If any of you watch Peter Schiff, he's all on taking a risk and putting something into these gold mines. The fund, which gained 21% in March, was down 9.5% in April, according to the letter. A spokesman for Mr. Odey declined to comment. Fear of government confiscation is a common theme among some of Gaule's most ardent supporters, who point for precedent to the US government's forced purchase of private bullion holdings in 1933 as part of a devaluation of the dollar. The price of gold was raised from $20.67 an ounce to $35 an ounce, where it remained until the US ended the gold standard in 1971. Wouldn't it be nice to have bought some gold back in 71, guys? Today, with major currencies no longer linked to gold, there's no indication that governments or central banks are considering any similar move. Gold futures for June delivery rose 0.4% to $1,753.20 an ounce at 7:38 a.m. on the COMEX in New York, close to a 7-year high. Well, let's have a look. What's the value of gold at the moment? I'll just bring up the trading economics and we can see where it's sitting right now, because I know a few people have been watching it the last few days. I certainly have. We can see here, it's 1741. So it's still holding quite strong. It's doing quite well. Silver, 1718. We'll jump here. Look at this. It's come a bit down. Gold as well. We can jump here. I know a lot of people are going into silver because of the traditional ratio of purchasing, the purchasing ratio of how much gold you can get, or how much silver you can get for 1 ounce of gold. And, divide and conquer, isn't that? You want to have diversity? We'll have to see where it goes. Mr. Odey, who has previously compared the current pandemic to the Great Depression of the 1930s, argued that central banks would fail to contain inflation as the economy eventually recovers from the impact of global lockdowns. Well, I think, yes, that's... Maybe I've just been watching too much of the hidden secrets of money. But yes, I think they will have trouble containing inflation, particularly when people get more comfortable. History is filled with examples where rulers have, in moments of crisis, resorted to debasing the coinage, he wrote. Mr. Odey is not alone in betting that gold will benefit as high inflation flows from the pandemic crisis, although market measures of inflation expectations show that it's far from a consensus view. High inflation would hurt long-dated bonds and growth stocks. Odey predicted, citing forecasts for inflation rates of 5 to 15% within 15 months. I very much expect that the authorities will fight these prevailing trends for every inch of the way, but I also expect them to lose that fight, he wrote. Mr. Odey is known for his eye-catching comments and bearish market outlook. In 2016, he predicted that a potential recession and higher inflation following the Brexit vote could lead to UK stocks slumping 80%. The following year, he told investors to watch out for the Minsky moment, referring to the term inspired by economist Hyman Minsky to describe sudden market collapse following the exhaustion of credit. So there we have it, guys. Potentially, governments may step in, or just assumption that governments may step in to remove people's ability to have private gold ownership. Can you see it actually happening? If it's proposed, can you see there being any opposition? I, for one, think there would be hardly any in Australia. I think it would be exactly the same as the cash ban. Most people would say, what? Why would anyone want to own gold? Why would you have gold? I mean, it's an investment, a commodity that you're buying in. Frankly, I'm buying it as a hedge of potential hyperinflation in the future and potentially a devaluation of the Australian dollar. It seems to make perfect sense. Why shouldn't we have the right to do it? But it all comes down to the fact that, people aren't really educated that well on money and what the difference between money and currency is, and just how the government creating all this fiat currency. Oh, wow, inflation isn't high, don't worry. Our international flights are still cheap or non-existent. So you're saving money. So this increase in money supply hasn't really affected your day-to-day. We'll see. We'll see how it all works out. I'm a skeptic of what they're proposing. I still think that the complexities of the system are beyond the capabilities of our models to accurately measure in the long term. The further out we get, the greater risk and uncertainty presents in any model or any system that you have. So let's hope they don't push for this in Australia, because somehow I think it would be another cash ban all over again, and the average punter wouldn't care. What do you think, guys? Are you worried about the government potentially confiscating gold? Do you think Australians would care? Do you have friends that have invested, or have you invested in some gold, just stashed a little bit? Or have you gone all in, put all your super in and got it sitting in a vault there? Or do you just have a shovel and a shotgun in your backyard? Let us know, guys, in the comments. Please like, share and subscribe. If you're a fan of the channel and you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or on Patreon. You can support us via our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay, or Independent Reserve and Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays. You can send us gold using the gold pass from Perth Mint while we still can have gold. And I know it's not in your hands, but it's still in the mint until the government takes it. And then finally, you can support us via PayPal. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next video.